Back on January 30th, 2019, Nintendo officially shut down the Wii Shop, which, of course, a lot of nostalgia there for people considering it came out in 2006 and ran for 13 years. And the biggest thing I think for people would be the Virtual Console and the music for the store, which, again, iconic stuff there. But you can never count out the Homebrew community, as it appears it's coming back. Kind of. I actually have a lot of questions about this one. So, of course, when this news broke this week that a public beta was available, I decided to download it and check it out myself on a Wii that I went through soft modded and set up with Homebrew. And this is certainly an interesting situation, and I have some concerns around how the whole thing is going to turn out, but we'll go over that here today. So if you guys enjoy the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. So as it stands currently, this store is called the RiiShop, R-I-I shop, as in like redo or revive, I guess, with, of course, the double I to coincide with the Wii. And this isn't necessarily a new idea, seeing as this has happened with the 3DS as an example, where you have a shop that can be loaded onto a modified console to then call to Nintendo servers and pull information, in that case, applications, games, and more. So in this case, RiiShop will try to go that same route, and currently in beta is fairly limited, but gives us, I think, a pretty good idea as to if they're going to be able to pull this one off. Now, in order to get this application, it comes in the form of a WAD or .wad, which is common for the Wii. You use those to then install basically different channels on the system that are not necessarily official, but nonetheless, they do distribute this on their Discord, and it seems like they have updated it consistently with more and more information. In fact, there is an entire FAQ where they just kind of answer, of course, some common questions about where they are in the process, like downloads, which don't necessarily work right now. And when asked about this, the answer was development of such a big project takes time, and myself am in grade 9 and have schoolwork to do. So there you go. Can't really push back on that. Stay in school, of course, to get your schoolwork done. But I guess impressive here for a person in grade 9. Anyway, once you do load up the WAD, you are able to access the shop. But looking at my Wii dashboard here, the home screen, I was a little confused because typically when you load up one of these WAD files, you'll just have another channel. This one, though, actually just replaces the official shop channel, which I guess technically, why not? It's not doing anything anyway, so enable it essentially to have at least some functionality here. But when you do go into that channel, you then go through and you'll have this open shop tab that is in front of you, after which you will be greeted with a very nostalgic scene. You'll have the eShop, original eShop from the Wii in front of you with that music playing. Now, this front page seems to change from time to time. Basically, the top part will cycle, whether it's like retro games or they just have one section called Pokemon, and then they have just important info that appears to be updated as they go along. In this case, the public beta releasing, and then Mario Kart 64 now available, although something I ran into here, at least in the time that I was on, and it does seem kind of scattered right now, is when I would try to do things with the Virtual Console side, I would constantly get an error. I think I was only able to open up like one game at some point. Otherwise, though, I was able to sort of browse through with the tab at the top with Wario's Wood, Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Mario Bros. 3, Mario Kart 64, and so on. But then I could jump over to where we have the Virtual Console, WiiWare, Wii channels, add Wii points, and your balance. Now, according to them, right now, you can't add Wii points, which makes sense considering that means that you would then buy points from them, and that's not what they're attempting to do here. Their vision, apparently, their end goal is to have all of this content available as 0 points or just free. You just go on there and download it. It's a way to distribute stuff that would have been on that store had it still been up. And I guess if you had just had infinite points on the Wii Shop, which for many people was probably a dream back then, of course. But I was able to go into WiiWare, eventually getting it to load up, and you're going to hit with error codes constantly. At one point, I had to go back to the Discord and realize that you have to like type in fix server in order to get it to basically reboot, and then I was able to get into WiiWare and start browsing. And I'll admit, it was pretty cool to scroll through this again with like Frogger Returns. They had Real Fishing, Castlevania, The Adventure of Rebirth, Contra Rebirth, Dr. Mario Online RX. It's kind of a blast from the past here. And you know what? If they do figure this out and make it so you can just kind of go on here and have these games distribute to you, just download, and I guess they would still keep the same kind of loading bar where Mario runs across and jumps and hits the blocks and coins come out, that could be a lot of fun. My only concern here is this is around the time where I would expect Nintendo to get involved. See, because as I mentioned, this isn't necessarily the first time this was attempted with the 3DS. Something called RiiShop was done, and it basically got to the point where Nintendo issued a DMCA because it was getting to that point where, oh wow, you can just go on this shop that you have to load on your modified system, and all of a sudden you can just download whatever you want. Now, this was in 2016, so the 3DS was a bit more relevant then than the Wii is now. Obviously, the Wii is 17, almost 18 years old. Think about that one for a second. But nonetheless, there is a lot of content there, not only from third parties, but also Nintendo, of course, who might not take kindly to the idea of their stuff just being freely available and apparently being pulled directly from their server. So I'm not 100% sure how all this is working in the back end, but what I do know is when Nintendo sees some of their IPs getting thrown around in this regard, they act quickly, and usually they mean business when they do it. That said, I hope they don't, only because I like the idea of the Wii Shop coming back. I think it's at least a fun idea to have that still available through Virtual Console or really the WiiWare and applications that are kind of lost to time. I know you can still go online and find them without too much issue and load them up on modified Wiis, but something about just the experience of going through the Wii Shop, downloading them, I don't know, it's just fun. Now, there are Homebrew browsers currently, but those don't house like official games or anything from Nintendo. Those are all like Homebrew applications and utilities, and I feel like that's what most people use that for. Sure, there's like fun demos and stuff that people make, but it's usually like, okay, let me go on this Homebrew browser so I can grab this emulator or this utility that'll allow me to rip games to a hard drive and then load stuff from USB. In this case, though, you go on there and you're like, I'm going to download Pokemon Rumble, and then the DMCA comes in. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below. Still in very early development. It's, again, an open beta. You can download it and try it out for yourself on your own modified Wii. Just keep in mind there are some steps you have to go through getting the WAD to your SD card or whatnot, and then to your Wii to install it. But kind of a cool proof of concept that is very early on. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.